Hello and welcome to another episode of Education Vault. I'm Toby Jones from Learning Vault, and this time we are going to continue actually talking about Standard 1.8 but extending it slightly into looking at Standard 1.12 as well. Now specifically we want to focus this time on how we actually write questions for assessments. Again, this is something that ASQA has mentioned in multiple briefings, and actually more recently, a few weeks ago, for those of you that attended the VEL conference, this again was something that came up in one of the ASQA sessions. So we've written a summary for the standard, and I'm going to read it directly. The standard requires training providers to deliver training and assessment that allows students both the opportunity and the time to develop their skills and knowledge, and to practice and demonstrate their skills in a holistic and meaningful way. So when we're looking at this standard and we're thinking about how we're writing questions, two of the main things we need to determine is, are we writing a theoretical based question or are we writing an application based question? Are we asking the student to tell me or are we asking them to show me? Now, generally speaking, in a VET context, we're more likely to be asking them to show us how they do something rather than just tell me about how you would do it. So to look at how the question structure might differ between the two, we can take again a BSB unit that we spoke about before, managed meetings where students have to have an understanding of the agenda. And if we're looking at it from a theoretical question standing point, the question might be, in 100 words, explain to me how you would write an agenda for this particular meeting. Now, as much as it is critical that the student understands the knowledge and the why and the how and the structure of this, this is purely knowledge evidence. We cannot mark this off as performance evidence or because the student has explained how they would do it. They have to actually show us how they would do it in order for it to be performance evidence. Otherwise, it's just, in its purest sense, it is just knowledge evidence. It's really important that we don't mix up the two. So if we were looking at this same question related to an agenda, writing an agenda, but from an application question point of view, the question might go as something a little bit like this. Using the template provided, write the agenda for the upcoming meeting on said subject. So what we've done here was we've actually taken the question, given it a practical application. Now, to take this a step further and to incorporate some of the learnings from the previous episode and the things that we touched upon where we're looking at context and instruction and narrative related to questions themselves, we can bolt these together and it might create a question that reads something like this. This assessment task requires you, in the role of the operations manager, to prepare for and conduct a formal meeting to discuss the program for the upcoming Coffee Leadership Conference for the Righteous Bean. So we've added in here operations manager. Depending on the AQF level, depends on where you might be pitching this at. The Righteous Bean is the fictitious business that we've created. And to continue the question, this will include developing an agenda and then conducting the meeting before checking and distributing the minutes. This is the introduction to one of the practical assessments. And to look at the stages that we mentioned before. Stage 1, the managing director. Again, you could put a name in here, or you could actually use the name of the assessor that's delivering this, or it could be a fictitious person that fits in with the business, has asked you in your role of the operations manager to develop an agenda for the meeting to discuss the Coffee Leadership Conference. He has provided the Righteous Beans meeting agenda template for you to use. 4 people will be in attendance: the operations manager, who is you, the administration officer, the retail cafe manager, and the sales and marketing manager. Your managing director has advised you that before you can complete the agenda, you will need to review the following: a case study, meeting policies and procedures, and also the draft conference program. Now, it may look like there's a lot of detail in there, but all we've actually really done is taken a fairly dry theoretical question, which was in 100 words, explain how you do this. We've altered the language and then we provided tools and templates in order to do this. Now it's great to provide a template because then you've actually got consistency across the students, making sure they're all completing the task in the same way. We've given it some context and some narrative to make it real world so that they're actually performing the skill in the same way that they would be doing when they leave our institutes and are actually in the working world. So what we've actually achieved here is we've given students the opportunity and the time to develop their skills and knowledge, and to do this in a holistic and meaningful way, which is what we're being asked to do by the standards. So, and what we've done in the construction of the question is getting the students to actually demonstrate how they would actually do something rather than just tell us about how they're going to do it in a theoretical standing point. So remember, when we're writing questions, we need to ask ourselves, are we writing a knowledge-based question or an application-based question? Are we asking the student to tell us about how they would do something, or are we asking them to actually show us how they would do it? Now, I hope there's been some takeaways from this. This has been a useful episode for you. If it has been, then please let us know, get in touch, share this, and we'd love to get some comments below and to get some discussion going. And we're all about sharing knowledge in the vet sector so we can continue to strengthen on this awesome sector that we all work in. Please do get in touch, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon about another Education Vault topic.